Here is a credit card result that looks wrong until you watch the payment itself. Two people start with the same $6,000 balance at the same interest rate. Neither misses a payment. Neither adds a new purchase. The first person decides to pay $50 more than the minimum every month. The second person never adds that $50 at all. They simply take the first minimum payment, $170.75, and keep paying that exact amount every month even after the required minimum falls. The first person finishes in 74 months. The second finishes in 58. Same balance, same rate. The person who never added the extra $50 is done 16 months earlier. I built both schedules month by month because I did not trust that result the first time I saw it. It held. And the reason is not that $50 does not matter. It matters a lot. The question is what that $50 is sitting on top of. Start with the model. The balance is $6,000. The annual rate is 22.15%. That is the Federal Reserve's latest figure. For May 2026, for credit card accounts that were actually assessed interest. This is a simplified payment schedule, not a reconstruction of any one card. I am using monthly interest at the annual rate divided by 12, no fees, no new purchases, and a minimum payment equal to 1% of the balance, plus that month's interest. Subject to a $35 floor. Real cards vary. Chase, for example, says that in most cases its minimum is the greater of 40 Rs or 1% of the statement balance plus interest and late fees. Your own agreement controls your own account. But this general structure is common enough to expose the mechanism. That distinction matters because this video is testing a payment behavior, not claiming every issuer produces the same schedule. Change the formula, and the exact months change. The moving baseline problem can remain whenever required payments shrink. At $6,000 and 22.15%, 1 month of interest in this model is 110.75. 1% of the balance is 60 Rs. Add them, and the first minimum is 170.75. Look at what produced that number. The interest is tied to the balance. The 1% piece is tied to the balance. So the required payment is not a fixed number. It is rebuilt from a balance that you're trying to make smaller. That creates what I am going to call the shrinking floor. Every time the balance falls, the formula can lower the amount you're required to pay next month. Your progress reduces the debt, but it can also reduce the payment requirement. That distinction is easy to miss because both numbers live on the same statement. Now put our two people in front of the payment screen. Person 1 looks at the minimum due and adds $50. Month 1, the minimum is $170.75, so they pay $220.75. Next month, they do the same thing. Whatever the minimum says, add 50s. It feels like a fixed improvement, always $50 extra. Person 2 uses a different instruction. They take that original $170.75 minimum and freeze it. No $50 added, just $170.75 every month. In month 1, person 1 is paying more, a lot more. That is exactly what should happen. The strange part appears later. By month 12, person 1's required minimum has fallen to about $137.99. Add $50, and the payment is about $187.99. Person 2 is still paying $170.75. By month 18, person 1's minimum is about $121.58. Their payment is $170.58. Person 2 is still at $170.75. The two payments have almost met. By month 24, person 1's payment has fallen to about $156.14. Person 2 is still paying $170.75. The person who promised to pay $50 extra every month is now sending less money than the person who never added the $50. Nothing broke. Nobody changed the rule. That is the rule working. The first instruction was not pay $220.75. It was pay the minimum plus $50, and the minimum was moving. Here is the part that made the schedule click for me. When an extra dollar reduces the principal, it can also reduce a future minimum that is calculated from that principal. With this particular formula and rate, reducing the balance by $1 lowers the next modeled minimum by about 2.85 cents before the fixed floor takes over. 1 cent comes from the 1% balance component. About 1.85 cents comes from the monthly interest that dollar would otherwise generate. $1 does not sound like much. Repeat the process across hundreds of dollars and many months, and the baseline underneath the extra payment begins to slide. Compare person 1's minimum with the minimum-only path. By month 12, their earlier extra payments have lowered their own required minimum by about $14.89. By month 24, the gap is about $29.37. By month 36, it is about $42.20. So 3 years in, the phrase minimum plus $50 is still technically true, but relative to the minimum-only schedule, only about $8 of that month's payment is still sitting above the payment level that the original path would have required. There is another reason the difference keeps widening. Eventually, the formula reaches the fixed $35 floor. In this schedule, person 1's calculated minimum hits that floor around month 58. From that point on, minimum plus $50 means an $85 payment. The label still says $50 extra. The cash leaving the checking account is now less than half of the $170.75 payment that person 2 locked in at the beginning. That is why looking only at the size of the extra payment can be misleading. The extra amount is measured relative to a moving reference point. 2 people can both say, honestly, I am paying more than required, while their actual monthly payments are heading in opposite directions. This is also why a one-time autopay decision can beat a repeated monthly decision. Person 2 does not need to keep choosing to be aggressive. The aggression is built into the fixed number. Person 1 makes the more visibly active choice every month, but the app keeps handing them a smaller starting point. The $50 was not wasted. It reduced the balance, but part of the benefit showed up by lowering future required payments. If you keep defining your payment as a fixed amount above that shrinking requirement, you let some of the progress come back to you as a smaller payment instead of keeping all of it aimed at the debt. Now the ending makes sense. Person 1, paying minimum plus $50, finishes in 74 months, or 6 years and 2 months. Total paid is about $9,798. Interest is about $3,798. Person 2, paying a fixed $170.75, finishes in 58 months, or 4 years and 10 months. Total paid is about $9,764. Interest is about $3,764. 16 months earlier, with about 34 ZAX less interest, even though person 2 never made the first person's $50 commitment. For context, the minimum-only schedule in this same model takes 215 months and produces about 9,576 ZAX of interest. That comparison is useful, but it is not the interesting one. Most people already know that minimum payments are slow. The interesting comparison is between 2 people who both believe they are maintaining progress. One protects the extra amount, the other protects the payment. Now, combine the 2. Freeze the original payment at $170.70, then add $50 on top. That makes the payment $220.75 every month, unchanged. Now the balance is gone in 39 months. Total interest falls to about $2,407, compared with the fixed $170.75 payment. That real extra $50 saves 19 months and about $1.350 of interest. There is the value of the $50. It becomes much easier to see when the number underneath it stops moving. And the relationship scales. Add $25 to the fixed $170.75 or payment instead, and the model finishes in 46 months. That saves 12 months and about $836 of interest compared with the frozen baseline. Add $100 and the balance is gone in 29 months. That saves 29 months and about $1,966 of interest. The extra payment works exactly the way you would hope once the baseline is stable. But there is a real trade-off here. A shrinking minimum can be useful. If your income changes month to month, if overtime disappears, or if one bad month forces you to protect cash, a lower required payment gives you flexibility. Freezing a payment is a commitment. A floating minimum is not. So, the useful question is not, what is the biggest payment I can force myself to make this month? It is, what payment can I realistically keep paying when the month is not friendly? A fixed amount that collapses after 6 months is not much of a plan. And this result has a boundary. At smaller balances, $50 is a much larger addition relative to the minimum, so minimum plus $50 can beat freezing the original minimum. In this model, the timelines cross at roughly $400 at a $3,000 balance. Minimum plus $50 finishes in about 42 months, while freezing the first minimum takes about 58. At $6,000, the fixed payment wins. 58 months to 74. At $9,600 minimum plus $50 takes about 102 months, while freezing the first minimum still lands around 58. That last pattern looks odd, but the reason is simple. Under this formula, the first minimum rises with the starting balance, so freezing that first payment also locks in a larger dollar payment. There is a useful mathematical reason the frozen path stays near the same length across those larger starting balances. Before the fixed floor matters, the first minimum is basically a percentage of the starting balance. Double the balance and the first minimum roughly doubles too. If you freeze that first minimum, both the debt and the payment scale together. That does not make the dollars harmless. A larger balance still means a larger payment and more interest in dollars. It only explains why the number of months can stay surprisingly stable in this particular model. Minimum plus $50 behaves differently. The $50 does not scale. On a $3,000 balance, it is a large boost relative to the required payment. On a $9,600 balance, it is much smaller relative to the required payment. Same $50, very different leverage. This is not a universal rule for every card. Change the minimum formula, fixed floor, rate, fees, or payment timing and the exact crossover changes. There is another assumption that matters even more. Every payoff schedule so far assumes no new purchases. That condition is not decorative. If you pay $227.5 but keep adding $100 of new charges after each payment in this simplified model, the original $6,000 balance is still around $5,495 after 36 months. The payment did not fail. The account was moving in two directions at once. Real cards can calculate interest using daily or average daily balances, so purchase timing can change the exact numbers. The point is simpler. A payoff payment only describes the old balance if new spending is not rebuilding it. There is one more number worth looking for, because your statement may already be doing part of this math for you. Federal credit card rules generally require periodic statements for covered accounts to show a minimum payment warning, an estimate of how long minimum payments would take, and the total cost under that path. When the rules call for the 3-year comparison, the issuer also shows an estimated monthly payment that would repay the current balance in 36 months. And the regulation is very specific about the idea behind that number. The 36-month estimate assumes the same payment amount is made each month for 36 months, a fixed payment. For this simplified $6,000 model at 22.15%, the payment that amortizes the balance in 36 months is about $229.60. The first minimum was $170.75. The difference is $58.86. So the statement is showing you two very different kinds of numbers. One is the amount required now. The other is built around a timeline. Those numbers answer different questions. The minimum tells you the boundary for staying current this month. A fixed payoff payment asks what repeated amount creates a particular finish line. Confusing those two is where the shrinking floor becomes invisible. So when you look at your next statement, do not just ask how much more than the minimum you are paying. Ask whether the payment itself is staying where you intended it to stay. The minimum can move. Your target does not have to move with it.